welcome to another episodic podcasting adventure. It's Talkamania.
Hey, welcome to another episodic adventure of Talkamania. I'm your co-host Dez, here with my buddy, my hombre, my tag team partner, the other co-host of Talkamania, J-Bomb. Say hey, J-Bomb.
Hey man, how's it going, dude?
Going good, man. It's like, was it summer outside? It looks like it at least.
It's been a couple of really good days, not gonna lie, man. It's been really nice.
I'm actually waiting for it to rain because I got to put grass seeds down, but I'm not going to complain because we've had a pretty good run of good weather and getting some barbecuing in there, and I dig.
What have you been barbecuing?
What have I been barbecuing? Oh, it's funny. I remember last week we were talking, and I was saying how I was planning on taking the rest of the week off, Thursday, Friday. Well, went down to my basement on Thursday. I started painting, and immediately had to go up and deal with some work, and ended up working until like 9:30, having to go in, PM, by the way. Having to go into work the very next day. I worked. I went back in time. I worked so hard. But yeah, I went in on Friday and ended up painting all weekend and then putting my barbecue together. And it's like 1 to 2 hours to put it together. Well, it took me and Cha-Cha a couple more hours to do it. There's a lot of finicky parts and it was a pain in the ass. But I finally got to barbecue Sunday at like 9 p.m. So it was actually interesting because it's
What'd
like...
you barbecue?
Okay, what did I barbecue? Okay, let's get to the point here. Okay, burgers, bell peppers, stuffed bell peppers, sausages, steaks, anything, man. And
Jesus
asparagus as well too on there.
You barbecued all that already?
Well, since that day, yeah, for sure, man.
Okay, holy shit.
Yeah, two separate barbecues, but it was like fully loaded barbecuing, man. So pretty excited, and it's been pretty tasty. But yeah. So, didn't get my vacation. I'm hoping to take some time off soon, but got some painting done, and, here we are.
How's the basement look? Looks better?
Oh my god, it looks so much better. It looked like a clown exploded earlier, and now it's all white and nice. So definitely looking good. I have a few things left to do. I want to do around the house, and then I'm going to put it on the market and hopefully get out of here and move on to a nicer place. Not that it's bad, but I moved in here when I was young. I can make a profit, move somewhere else. And I told myself, if I sell, I'm going to buy myself a championship belt afterwards. So I'm going to do it. I got my eyes on the 90s Eagle title.
Speaking of championships, the Bruins are one step closer. Ha-ha! They knocked off the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they're ready to take on the Carolina Hurricanes, heading into the Eastern Conference Finals. And they're the favorites right now to win the Cup, so I'm pretty excited. Not gonna complain about that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at who's left, I'm not surprised that they're the favorite. Like, look, I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan. I got respect for the Bruins, but, I also have to do my thing. And, I don't like the Bruins very much. And I kind of was pulling for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I'll give you that, man. Columbus made a good effort. There was a few games. There's a few games that came pretty close. They really pushed Boston to their limit, but ultimately they couldn't get the job done. And that's what it comes down to in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So yes,
buddy.
Boston's moving on to the semifinals against the Carolina Hurricanes. It should be an easy work, an easy job, I would think. J-Bomb keeps telling me to shut my mouth and not jinx it. But
know your role.
Here, I'm wishing you luck, man. Best of luck.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for St. Louis or the Sharks now, but you know.
St. Louis, the Sharks play Avalanche tonight, so that'll be...
We will know who's advancing, and when does the next round start? Tomorrow, is it, or do they have to?
It'll be tomorrow, which is today if you're listening to the podcast on Thursday.
Sweet. And it's Boston. Yeah. Boston's playing tomorrow.
Boston's playing Thursday? Carolina tonight.
Cool.
Not tonight, but tonight on the podcast if you're listening, if that makes sense.
And for those of you listening, J-Bomb's studio is all decked out in Boston Bruins, red, black, gold, blue.
There's no red.
I'm trying to slip the Canadians colors in there, see if you notice, but no.
You cocksucker.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. He's got a banner behind him as well, too, with dates on it, and he's talking about how he's going to have to add one for 2019.
I said I might. 2018, 2019. But it is what it is. Hey, dude, we had a sweet month of podcast downloads. We've been doing really well, and congratulations, Des. It's all because of you.
Well,
voice,
you're one step ahead of me. I was going to take all the credit, but I do have to look at your mug every week and put up with that Boston in the background. I have to look at every week. But again, you're riding with these guys for a reason. They're making it to the semifinals. Awesome. And Talkamania is doing excellent. It's me, but it's also you, my friend, and all of you listeners out there.
It's the listeners.
We also want to thank Full Press because, we're exclusive now, and it's been helping out. I think so, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Our buddies over at Full Press Radio have been awesome. If you guys want to check them out or check us out, every Thursday at 11 o'clock a.m., they are a show live on their radio network, which is very, very awesome. And Des, tell our listeners where else they can hear us if they're new to the show.
Ooh, I like this part. All right. @_Talkamania on Twitter, guys. If you're not following us already, make sure to do so. Instagram, Talkamania. We're pretty active on there. We're shooting all kinds of stuff up there. Pictures from our studio, pictures from our adventures. If you guys are going to shows and you have cool things you want to share, send it our way. We'll throw it out there and we'll give you credit, and we'll build the Talkamania community together. Make sure to listen to us. Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podtastic kicks. Yeah.
And of course, check out Full Press Coverage on Twitter @FP Coverage, and our buddies at Full Press Wrestling @FPC_Wrestling. And of course, Talkamania.com. It's our landing page. You can find everything there. You can get links to Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to see us. If you want to buy some merch, ProWrestlingTees.com/Talkamania. And if you want to check us out on Twitch, Twitch.tv/Talkamaniacs. Actually, I'm going to be twitching tonight, it's yesterday, so go watch the replay. Apex Legends, baby.
Bet you lost a bunch.
Actually, no. Lately, it's been really going well. Every time I forget to go on Twitch, we win. And every time I go on Twitch, we don't win, but there's lots of kills. So there's lots of really cool things to check out.
So you're trying to say as soon as I stopped playing with you, you started doing better. I see.
Oh.
I knew it all along.
You're really good at a lot of video games, but Apex Legends.
So he's 100% right, guys, and I'm not taking it personal. I'm a gamer. I work in the industry, and I'm actually a very good gamer. But when it comes to battle royales, pure garbage, guys, pure garbage. I haven't put in enough time, the hours. But yeah, man, it's just something with the shooting, jumping, crouching left and right, and strafing left and right, and I got to get more practice in there. Yeah. I love it. It's a lot of fun. But I always feel like I'm holding these guys back, so I'm happy they're having fun and they're succeeding. Doesn't mean I won't jump in and spoil the fun for them anytime soon, but
you should.
Happy.
You should
I will. I'm just happy you're having a good time. I finished up Resident Evil 7. A lot of fun playing that game, guys. I've been telling you a bunch. Check it out. And Sekiro. And now I'm playing Unravel 2, which is just a fun little kind of artsy game. Check it out. Really cool. Little puzzles and stuff. And that's it. That's all.
All right, let's talk wrestling. Des,
do we have to? Because really, if we do, this podcast will be over in 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's not much happening, but we kind of threw some shit together. So bear with us. On today's show, we're going to be talking about what is going on with the WWE right now. It's a question a lot of people are asking on Twitter.
And no one has the answer to.
No. We're also going to be talking about what the heck is the wild card rule? What is going on? We're going to be talking about AEW Road to Double or Nothing. We're going to do a quick Raw and SmackDown live recap because not much happened. And then we're going to end the show with a quick conversation about Sasha Banks and whether or not she's in the same league as some other women outside of the WWE because she sent out some Instagram comments this week that are pretty interesting.
I'm excited.
So, let's get on to the show.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Des, whatever.
Don't tell them my real name.
God damn it. I read your notes that you sent over this week, and I think it's safe to say the WWE is a bit of a mess right now. We had the Superstar shakeup a few weeks back, and since then it's been somewhat of a free-for-all with who's on which shows. So is this a lack of direction from WWE, or do you think there's a bit of panic over the recent downfall in ratings?
So I think it's a few things. I think when they do their Superstar shakeup, it's an annual thing, just like the Royal Rumble, just like WrestleMania. So it's business as always, and they fully intended just to be the shakeup. We'll send Roman Reigns to SmackDown. SmackDown's going on Fox in the fall. It's going to be excellent for them. But then they see the Raw ratings, and it just necessarily making them panic. It's been no news that the WWE is in panic mode, but we know now they've been getting a lot of pressure from the USA Network and from both Fox to get rid of the brand split. A lot of pressure. So I think the wild card, it started off more as like, okay, well, we want to help ratings. We also want to kind of accommodate Fox and USA Network. Maybe we can kind of, have a brand split, but also have exceptions. So you have the big names, you have Roman Reigns, you have Kofi Kingston now, Daniel Bryan, it seems like AJ Styles, they threw Lars Sullivan in there. And then like they were clearly defining who was part of this wild card. And then kind of, at least to me, it seems like they kind of continued having crossovers, but not confirming who was part of it. And McMahon said it was 3 on Raw, 3 on SmackDown. But if we count, I'm pretty sure there's been more than that. So it seems like they're kind of changing things as they go. We saw the Usos, we saw Miz, we've seen Elias, we've seen Shane McMahon, who's not even a wrestler, go on both shows. So a little bit of a confusion. So I think subtly and slowly, they're starting to work towards breaking up the brand split. And we've seen a few superstars talk about it. Kevin Owens in an interview today was saying how he liked the brand split because it allows you to kind of have separate rosters. And, you can focus more on storylines on each independent roster as opposed to, having...
Storylines?
I know. What are those all about, right?
What are those?
Forget. But now it's like, there's two ways to look at it. One is he's right. It's kind of good to have the two separate rosters. It'll give us a chance to highlight Roman Reigns on SmackDown, Seth Rollins on Raw, and other superstars. But maybe at the same time, let's say this week they couldn't put, I'm going to say, Asuka on SmackDown. Let's say they couldn't this week. Well, they could easily slip her into Raw. Or Andrade, they could have him on Raw and then not on SmackDown. And that way you're not like, damn, Cesaro wasn't on Raw this week. And then he can show up on SmackDown. So there's a little bit of a goodness to it that you can have your favorite superstar who didn't show up on their show, maybe show up on the other show. But it's a big cluster F, if you could say. They really kind of are making things up as they go. They're trying to accommodate Fox, USA Network, especially moving into the Fox rollout in the fall. But I think ultimately they don't know what they're doing. So I think we got to wait and see. We're along for the ride, and we'll find out exactly what this wild card thing means, because what started off as wild card seems to be, well, you're able to go to either show if you want.
Yeah, this invite thing seemed very odd. Oh, we could invite these guys to Raw. We can invite these guys to SmackDown. Seems like just whoever wants to show up is just going to show up. There's also been another rumor that SmackDown's going to go to 3 hours once it hits the Fox network.
Kofi's like, I'm all down for that. I'm sure he'd love that. And I mean, I don't know. I'm watching SmackDown this week, and it's going on 2 hours, and you could tell they're trying to squeeze things in here and there, like Balor with a quick promo in the back, Aleister Black with a quick promo in the back. You have Asuka and Kyrie come out and be like, we're not on the show, but we're going to be on the show next week. You can tell they're trying to really jam in as much as they can in those 2 hours. So it kind of leaves me a little bit annoyed that they're rushing things, but I think if there was 3 hours, like with Raw, I would think it was too long. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to see how it ends up looking and all, but I mean, we have it with Raw. I think 2 hours is nice. It's short and sweet. Gives me time to do something with the rest of my night as well, too. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was listening to Boot to the Face. They made a really good point. The fact that, we were talking about, it's really going to suck when it goes Monday to Fridays. It's going to screw up the podcast schedule, but it is going to be really nice to split those two shows up, because, after 3 hours of Raw on Monday, man, I'm not really in the mood to sit down and dedicate a whole other night to WWE. And on top of it, it hasn't been good. So it's really, really hard to get through 5 hours of this garbage that we've been going through pretty much since Mania, man. They had a couple good weeks leading into Mania, and then after that, it's been kind of shit.
See, I'm kind of the other way around in a sense that, when I watch Raw, I'm not overly excited for Raw. I'm kind of like, let's see if they can do well this week, hoping for the best. And you watch it, and 3 hours seems like a chore at times. I think this week, too, it's a really tough one to get through. But then when we get to Thursday, first of all, I like the SmackDown roster more. I remember when the shakeup happened years back, and we were big on the blue brand. We were talking how much we love SmackDown. Well, I feel like SmackDown was kind of moving back in that direction. I was excited with who was on it. And also that it's 2 hours. It's short and sweet, and I feel like it's something that I can watch and easily digest. It goes by fast, and it doesn't seem like so much of a chore. But I do agree, it's a lot of wrestling in 1 week. It's a lot of wrestling in 2 days.
In 2 days, yeah.
Yeah. And then with all the other stuff going on too, I'm trying to get more into MLW and, in Impact and AEW and, it's a lot to take in. So I really want to kind of make sure that you watch the best of the best, and it's just not the best. And now I want to ask you, with the wild card, a lot of people are asking what's going on with the WWE, but they're also asking what's going on with Vince McMahon. Has he lost his mind? What's going on? On that mic, he was just lost. He was praising himself, stroking his ego. Do you think that's him basically like, the fans saying McMahon's lost it, he's an idiot? Is that him going out there and kind of saying like, suck it, I'm McMahon and I'm a genius and I'll do whatever I want? Or do you think he's genuinely losing his marbles?
It feels like he's going to make it a storyline, not a storyline, but he's going to kind of be like, he's not taking full responsibility for it and trying to fix it. He's just going to be like, it's kind of a running joke that it's a mess. And he's coming off as a mastermind, even though it's a mess. I don't know. It's kind of garbage, to tell you the truth. Yeah, he was stumbling around. I think that's just because he's like not well prepared and he's old as balls now. But like, I don't know where it was going. And it honestly sounded like he made up the wild card rule, like the name of it, right there in the ring. It's like, so lame, man.
And the way he was trying to interact with AJ and like, no, you won't, and I'm the boss. And it's just kind of silly. And I just feel like at his age, maybe he is starting to lose it a little bit because he's definitely not a beast on the mic like he used to be.
Yeah.
And when I think of it, I was watching a lot of old school wrestling this past week. Okay, so like our 24-hour WrestleMania channel, 24-hour SummerSlam channel, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. So I was watching a lot of old stuff. Amazing. Watched WrestleMania 6, WrestleMania 7, but I ended up watching not all the way, but I also ended up watching WrestleMania X7 or 17. Such a great show. You had Angle versus Benoit, which was an amazing match to see those two together. We saw the TLC 2, which was an amazing match at the same time as well.
One of the greatest. One of the greatest.
You got Rock versus Austin. The match itself wasn't amazing, wasn't their best, but the story told was awesome. And we had the McMahon turmoil, basically. Vince versus Shane. And this is back when Vince and Shane weren't really wrestling too many matches. Stephanie wasn't getting too physical. Linda was there. McFoley was a special guest referee. It was chaos in this match. And McMahon was cutting a bunch of promos. And dude, this guy was phenomenal on the mic. Phenomenal. The promos that he would cut as a heel, as Mr. McMahon, are out of this world. And now you look at him on the mic, and it's like clearly he's not what he was. He's like 75 years old.
He's fucking old, man.
That's it, man. So those of you that are saying, what the hell is he doing on the mic? He's lost his marbles. Well, dude, yeah, he's old, and he probably has lost his marbles.
Okay, this is a point that I wanted to get to. Okay, and it's gonna be tough to explain, but there's things. Okay, this week we saw the revival in the Usos, right? And everybody was losing their shit on Twitter, saying that it was such a shit on the WWE tag division. But I'm looking back, and they've done things like this during the Attitude Era, like funny storylines, silly storylines. There was always like a really good match to back it up, though. And that's, I think, what's lacking from WWE today, is that they're so far away from being like a pro wrestling company where the matches are important. And they're focusing more on the storylines, but the storylines don't work because the matches aren't good.
100%.
And then the comedy doesn't work because the matches aren't good. Like, really, like, I get that it's a kid's show, and I get that it's not what it was. Like, it's turning into somewhat of, like... It looks like they're trying to build an empire like Disney. You know what I mean? Where, like, it's just... There's a few things in life that are huge. There's Netflix that is huge. There's Marvel movies that are huge. There's Disney that's huge. There's WWE that's huge. And there's professional sports and so on and so on. They want to be one of those big entities. And I think they're in the right direction for that. And I think it's going to suffer for a long time. I think eventually it's going to get better once they balance it out. I don't know if it's Vince McMahon that's a problem. I don't know if it's the shareholders that are the problem. I don't know if it's a sponsorship, what it is, but I feel more than ever, it's really like they're lost. It's lost right now, man. It feels so distant from what we grew up with. Not the Attitude Era, just a love for pro wrestling. It doesn't seem like that love is there anymore.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm hearing that McMahon's been ripping up the scripts like 10 minutes before the show starts. And I'm pretty sure the creative writers in the back are like really trying desperately to change things, but it feels like they're just, I guess, stonewalled at a certain point. McMahon makes the decisions, whatever's going to go is go. And he's around by a bunch of his boys that, have been working with him for 20 plus years that are stuck with this same recipe that they're always going to do. And, there's only so much Triple H can do at the same time. NXT's his baby, but with McMahon at the helm of the main roster, maybe with XFL, he'll spend more time on that. Triple H will maybe get a little bit more ownership, and hopefully we'll see a change. But like you said, it's kind of it's a children's show, and
It is. It really is.
and they're just trying to, instead of giving us matches, which is what we want, nice matches where stories are told, they're giving us stories that make no sense and matches that make no sense because the stories don't make sense, like you said.
Yeah, like I always like to tune into to Raw back in the day for the stories. I always liked the promos more than I liked the matches itself. Just giving good matches, because I feel like they gave good matches this week. There was those are pretty big matches. They had the 2 WrestleMania rematches that were decent, and the triple threat on SmackDown with Kofi, Sammy, and AJ. Am I wrong? Was that was the lineup, right?
Yes.
And like, those are big matches, but there's no story to them, so they don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, just putting the title on the line on Raw and SmackDown, it doesn't make me think that the title can change or that like anything's going to come of the results of this match.
I don't know. I was kind of thinking like, well, look, they're desperate for ratings. Maybe they will do something with this. Maybe they will have Sami Zayn win or something. Or maybe, obviously, I don't think Sami Zayn was going to win. If he did, cool. It would have been a swerve and we wouldn't have expected it. The guy's been cutting some pretty good promos. But this thing, you throw him in the dumpster Monday night and you give him a title shot the very next night. It was just very confusing, the direction that they're going in with these guys. And ultimately, I think what they're trying to do with this is like, look, a championship belt is on the line on Raw and SmackDown. It doesn't happen very often, so people are going to tune in to check it out. I also feel like the reason why
not.
I also feel like the reason why they're having Kofi Kingston defend the title on both Raw and SmackDown is because they want to give him some defenses because he's losing it come Money in the Bank.
Ooh, well, that's a whole other story. But I think we can agree that the WWE is somewhat like a little bit of a lost puppy right now. And I mean, I've given AEW a hard time on this podcast saying that they're just a t-shirt company and I don't really believe in them. But lately, like as we get closer to Double or Nothing, and with the product that WWE's been putting out lately, and I think I'm kind of over the graduation goggles that I had when we went to WrestleMania, because I was so pro WWE at that point, and I still am, still love it. But it really is a kid's show. And I really started, and I spent some time this past weekend too watching old shows, and you were texting me about it, and I was looking, and I was checking it out, and I was reminiscing of those times, and I'm like, shit, man, that was a really good time in pro wrestling. Not just because the Attitude Era was full of tits, blood, and craziness. It was just really good storytelling, and then, I feel like maybe as adults, we're going to be more into AEW as far as that goes. Like, I don't think that AEW is going to overtake WWE. I think that they're really going to be 2 different types of companies.
Yeah, it's alternative. It's like a different meal on a menu for you to enjoy.
Yeah.
And I love going back and watching this old stuff. Like J-Bomb and I have been watching them over the past week. Dude, watching old matches with Ted DiBiase. Guy is a great heel. Love watching anything with him. And dude, Mr. Perfect. I forgot just how amazing he was in all aspects. Promos, he sells so well, and I see a lot of like Shawn Michaels, the way he used to sell and the way Dolph Ziggler used to sell, and I have to imagine they did get inspiration through Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. If you guys are a bit younger, you don't know Mr. Perfect, watch some of the old WrestleManias, man. The fans were into it from top to bottom. I was watching Macho Man and Hogan battling it out against each other on the same team with Zeus and with everybody, Earthquake, like just all kinds of cool things that I guess maybe I'm being nostalgic and I'm just like, I like the time that we grew up in, maybe. I don't know.
No, I just think that back then, okay, wrestlers could be over without titles. Mr. Perfect was never a world champion. Ted DiBiase was never a world champion. Razor Ramon was never a world champion. These guys all got over just with good storytelling.
And
they
matches.
they had good matches. And you know what? They weren't even like that great matches. There was just really good stories being told in them. They weren't super athletic, but they were memorable. We remember guys like Earthquake and Typhoon just because they were like larger than life. They had shitty gimmicks. They had really bad gimmicks.
For sure. I was watching it with my girlfriend. He was laughing. His finishing move where he jumps around the ring and then squashes you, it's like ridiculous. But it's also like, shit, man. If that guy sat on me, I'd probably shit my pants and I'd probably be pinned for 3.
But it's crazy because, like, back then there was no Raw, right? And even when there was Raw, I didn't have it on cable. In Canada, we didn't have it at first. So we didn't really get storylines other than the pay-per-view that we rented at the video store, like, 4 months after it happened. And we would get little snippets and little promo intro packages. And there was enough story in those to be invested in the match. And then there was another story told in the match that led into the continuation of another story that we would have to wait 4 months to hear about. And we were still, like, frothing at the gash to fucking hear about it.
And the fans also appreciated what they were watching, and they weren't, I guess, so whiny and complainy. And, like, it's really hard to be on social media these days.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
it's killing it, man. Nobody's ever happy. If you get what you want, you'll still complain about it. And I try to look at the bright side of things and not be too negative. And, I can definitely, spout some negativity, but for the most part, I try to remain positive. But some people on there, they'll never be happy and they'll always complain. And it's just, get over it, man. I don't know. It's salty.
I think it's because it comes down to there's no storylines going on. So that all you can do is like a character. You could just like a character. You can't be invested in a storyline between two characters you don't like. You have to like someone's gimmick.
And then they ruin that character for you, So I guess it can get frustrating. It's
frustrating. So if the character you like can't win, then you're just pissed because that character can't even be in a storyline that you enjoy where they don't win. Like, because there's only winning and losing. As soon as they started treating this like a real sport, man, I remember when you got me back into it at WrestleMania 31. I didn't know who anybody was. Literally, no, I didn't know who Rusev was. I knew who Brock Lesnar was. I knew who John Cena was. I think that's pretty much it on the show. Sting, Triple H. When Seth Rollins cashed in at the end, I was like texting you. I was like, who is this guy? And then you told me the backstory of it, and I was like, oh, he's my favorite wrestler. This is amazing. Like, it was so good. Like, Roman Reigns looked cool, but you didn't tell me anything about Roman Reigns, so I didn't give a shit about him. But the backstory that you gave me of Seth Rollins and seeing him cash in, I wanted to tune in on Monday to see what was going on. And they don't really have that after matches anymore. They don't. There's just like, they give somebody their moment, they give somebody their championship so that their fans can be happy and sell more merch, and then they just move on. It kills me.
All right, that kills you. I know it's killing a lot of people all over social media this week. You want to talk about the Usos and the Revival? You want to talk about it?
I loved it, man. I really did like it. What was there not to like about it? Like, the Usos, they pull it off. They pull off the comedy bit good, and the Revival, well... No, what do you think?
Well, again, a lot of people are pissing and moaning and complaining about this because the Revival should be booked better. They think the WWE, they're being petty because they wouldn't sign their contracts, so now they're going to drag them through the mud. The Usos are the best tag team in the world, but they're not wrestling, and they're kind of being put into this comedy shtick that's just making them look stupid. They're coming out rapping their songs. People aren't happy because it's not what they want. But I'm okay with it. I don't mind it. I will say it was utterly stupid. Very, very stupid. But it was entertaining. I thought it was funny. And you know what, man? The Revival are committing. They did a good job. Yeah. Do you really think they're that unhappy with this? Maybe they are. But, like, if I was, like, we're going to give you itchy cream and you're going to go out there, I wouldn't have scooted my ass around on the ground like that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have rolled around and I wouldn't have flossed my ass crack with my T-shirt, like, as much as they did. Like, I don't know, man. They're either going out there and being 100% troopers or they're having fun with it. Look, if they're out there and make an ass out of yourself, to me, I go out there and I would be the best at making an ass out of myself. We talked about this before. We talked about them shaving each other's backs. We talked about Jericho and Christian and how they were made fun of with the whole ass cream thing. And look, they ended up being all right and they turned out to be big stars themselves already and they had fun with it. So, I don't know. Let's see where this goes. It adds a little bit of comic relief. I think it's cool to have that. There may be payoff for the Revival down the line. Maybe they're waiting to see, like, look, we're going to drag you through the mud. Let's see how you respond to this. And if you work hard and you're the best at embarrassing yourself, then, maybe we will give you a bigger contract or, it shouldn't be a blackmail thing. But people need to remain professional.
That's the mark in you talking, right? You're looking at it from a perspective of politics backstage and whatnot. back when we were enjoying wrestling, we would look at this like the Usos have been fucking with the Revival for a really long time. That's the storyline they're running with, right? If you just focused on that and figured like, wow, we're gonna get a payoff where either the Revival are gonna get them back, or the Usos are gonna embarrass them so fucking bad at one of these pay-per-views, it'll be the end of their feud. And if you look at it from that perspective, shit, man, this was like a flashback to the Attitude Era. I mean, like you mentioned Edge and Christian, they had probably one of the worst shticks ever with the 5-second flash photography stuff with the big glasses and all the dumb stuff they had to do. But then they pulled off matches like the TLC and incorporated their goofiness into the storyline against the Dudleys and the Hardys. Like, we always focus on what's going on backstage. And I think if we could eliminate that from our brains slightly, a lot more people would have enjoyed that segment because it was
100%, 100%. If we don't look at the dirt sheets and we don't look at the message boards and the gossip and the politics, and you've told me to do this tons of times, just watch the show and enjoy it for what it is, I'm 100% sure we would all enjoy it a lot more. And you raise a good point. Yeah, they're getting embarrassed every week, but like, let's say, you know, the Revival do something really drastic and one week they just shave the Usos' heads. Or something like that, you know? Like,
how good would that be?
Yeah, they would get the laugh last. And then he's like, ha! And I had sex with your wife!
And you know what? That'd be perfect, because you know the Usos are the good guys in here, and they're probably going to be the ones going over. So they can, you know, Revival can maybe get the last laugh in a promo by, I mean, I don't know if they're going to shave the Usos' heads, but something along those lines. And then the Usos kick the shit out of them in a pay-per-view, and the fans go fucking crazy because they hate Revival.
It was funny. I was thinking also, going back on the ass cream, it would have been cool that, like, you know, they're chafing like mad, and in the end, in order to get their chafing to go away, they actually have a jar of ass cream that they end up using.
Christians should bring it up for them.
So it ties back to the ass cream in the end. I don't know, man. I know it's immature. I know it's stupid. I know the Revival, quote-unquote, deserves better. But you know what? You don't know how they're feeling about it. Maybe they're having fun. And when they go out there and they tweet like, you know, oh, you'll regret this, you know, putting us through this, I think it's still them in character. Being like, yeah, you'll regret this. Like, I don't know, man, whatever. Look, it's better than what they were doing before when they were never highlighted on TV ever. At least now they're getting time on TV. They're getting put into quality segments. And yeah, they're being a joke. And I would like to see the Usos in more tag team competition. Maybe they're a bit sore. Who knows? Get them a little bit of time off. Make their matches more special. But you know what, man? I'm okay with this. It's not a gripe for me.
Dude, Shawn Michaels was one of the best ribbers in the business, on and off the camera. The WWE, I know we said that we like them blurring the lines between reality and you know, storyline. I don't like them blurring the lines between reality and backstage politics. I don't really like it. I don't mind when it happens between, you know, two individuals like Randy Orton and AJ Styles, because it was part of the storyline leading up to WrestleMania. They kind of took a couple jabs at each other. That was okay. But I really don't like when I mean, wrestling Twitter is the worst. Have they destroyed it for us? I can't tell.
They've come close, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. So you guys might notice us tweeting a little bit less during live shows. I was there for Raw this week, but Smackdown, bad. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this shit and, you know, try to block out all the negativity and enjoy it for what it was.
I'll be honest.
I tried at least.
I didn't live tweet because I didn't watch SmackDown this week. Raw was so bad, man. And I was watching Raw during the Bruins game, so I just kind of switched back and forth, and then I watched it the next day on my lunch break. And, I mean, it was as bad as people were saying. It was as bad as people were saying.
Yeah, man. J-Bomb and I were thinking, like, man, everything coming out of this week, it's going to be tough to have content for the show. But, you know, enough's been happening around the industry, and the wild card stuff is a hot topic that, you know, we don't have the answers on, folks. I know a lot of people are asking questions. What does it mean? I think it's something we've got to wait and find out. And this really might be the start of just dissolving the brand split altogether. McMahon,
I'm game for that.
Yeah, I'm game with it too. But, you know, we'll see what happens with the titles. And, you know, maybe they're going to unify the tag team titles again. And, you know, there was talk of making the Universal title kind of like a gimmicky title. So, like, you give it to somebody like Brock Lesnar who appears once in a while. And then you have the WWE title just being the main title.
I'd like that. Yeah, that'd be a lot better. I mean, the Universal title, other than Kevin Owens, it's been kind of garbage.
Poop poop.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a quick break. And when we get back, let's talk about some AEW.
Woohoo!
What's up, guys? We just wanted to take a quick second and tell you guys about this new app that we've been using. It's called Podcoin. It is a podcast player. It's great. If you're not familiar with it yet, I highly suggest you checking it out. It's a free app. It's available on iPhone, on Android, and you could actually use it. You could turn your listens into money that you could put towards, Starbucks gift cards, Amazon gift cards, or if you want to donate the cash to charity, you can do that as well. Subscribe to us on there. I mean, we're available there. All of our other podcast friends are available there as well. And actually, if you're new to the app and use the code Talkamania, you'll get an extra 300 pod coins just for signing up if you use our code. So highly suggest checking it out today. Again, that's Podcoin, available on iPhone and on Android. Now let's go back to the show.
So I got fleas.
Fleas?
There is a rogue flea in my house somewhere. And
There's what?
There's a rogue flea in my house somewhere.
What are you going to do? You going to burn the house down?
Oh, we're hunting it. So we had basically our cats get treated, right? So we got no fleas, but there's this female cat that kind of like comes around and she's friends with our cats outside, but we let her in the house one time and for like 10 minutes or something, right? My girlfriend wakes up the next day with just bites all over her legs, and bugs love her. They love her. They don't bite me very often. I don't get bad reactions.
Well, you're not really likable.
Well, I'm not tasty, that's for sure. She's got that teriyaki Asian flavor, I don't know. And so they go to work, and she really swells up, and I feel bad. So we ended up lifting the mattress or something. I don't know how she found it, but she found the flea, and she caught it, and she killed it, and we were good. Everything was safe, nice. But then the female cat ended up, I don't know how she came back into the house, but she walked through the house again. We kicked her out right away. She's super sweet, and she's not even an outdoor cat. She belongs to the neighbor across the street and has a collar. And I don't even know if it's coming from her, but I have to imagine it is because my cat's treated. And now I got bit on my ankle 2 nights ago, so we're doing a mad little search around the house, trying to find that effing flea, trying all kinds of tricks and stuff, and it's a pain in the ass, man. So that's it, guys. We're bringing you back from commercial and letting you know Des has got fleas.
Shit, I peaked on that laugh. All right, man. Enough with the fleas. Let's talk some AEW. Yesterday they released episode 15 of Road to Double or Nothing. It featured Chris Jericho, which is always awesome. Pac was on there as well. And we got to find out that the winner of the Casino Battle Royale will get the first shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. They didn't show the belt, though.
No, they're teasing it for the event, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if you you watched it, right? So you checked out the rules. I'm super stoked with the way that they're doing this match.
I think it's interesting. It's really cool how they're kind of putting, like, I guess, poker or card or casino rules, I guess you could say, into it. The Joker's going to be very interesting. I wonder who's going to get that. And,
Who do you think it is, Des?
Well, I don't know. It could be anybody, right? I don't know. What are you're trying to hint towards Dean Ambrose? Is that it?
I don't know who that is, but I know who Jon Moxley
Jonathan
is.
Moxley. It could very well be him. I could either see it. So I again, let's talk about Jon Moxley just for a moment here. Not much news since the last video that he dropped, but people are questioning a lot of things. He actually was announced he's going to be in an MMA-inspired movie. So he's got a movie deal already, so keep an eye out for that. That's going to be cool for him. But at the same time, people are thinking that video was made independently, that he'd hired or he put it together. It basically, look, this is my independent contractor video. Send out wherever you want me to go. I might go work there. Some people are saying TNA Impact because he can be more edgier. And some are saying AEW still. So we'll see. So could he be the Joker in that match? Absolutely. He could also be somebody who just shows up at the end of the event to leave something, in your mouth. That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
You have Jericho and you have Kenny Omega. Maybe they're going to wrestle at the end. And then, Jericho lost.
Wait, what did you say? Who did you say?
Kenny Omega!
Yeah, boy. And since Jericho lost last time, he might pick up the win this time. And maybe he'll beat down Omega after. And maybe Ambrose will come down for the save. And we'll get Jericho versus Ambrose in AEW. And I know we've seen this match before in the WWE, but in AEW could be something fresh and something cool to see. So I don't know.
Was it Jericho and Dean Ambrose that had that Ambrose Asylum match?
Yeah, where Jericho landed in the thumbtacks, man. It was great.
Yes.
Great.
It'd be so cool if they came down to the ring and Jericho's like, wait, I know you. And John's like, You don't know this me.
You don't know me.
You
think you know me. You think you know me. You think you know me.
I think it's a really cool twist on Battle Royale or Battle Royals. I'm not a huge fan of Battle Royals, at least the way the WWE does it. I know the over the budget all in was a lot better, but I like the element of surprise that we get in Royal Rumble. So I feel like at least we get that every, 5 minutes or whatever the time limit is, and then the big 21. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the road to Double or Nothing, it's been exciting. You sent me the video. I checked it out today, and it's getting me pumped for it as well, too. And I'm definitely going to be checking it out. The fact that it's on a Saturday is really cool, too.
So cool.
ITV is going to have it, guys, so check it out, however you have access or whatever. I'm not 100% familiar. I think we have the channel. Do we, J-Bomb, or what is it?
Let's be honest to our listeners, and a lot of our listeners are going to be upset.
Without getting arrested.
I don't care about the arrested. We're not getting arrested. As of right now, I don't support any pro wrestling by paying. I mean, other than, I went to WrestleMania. I bought a bunch of tickets. I buy merch. But no, I don't pay to watch. I pirate all my shit. So, on the network that we have, we probably most certainly will have ITV. So
so like IPTV, like anything that's basically, streaming television, that's kind of our route. And you get all kinds of good shit there too as well. So even being sports, right, as well too, where you can watch MLW, sports, it's all over there, guys. So which means we'll be able to watch more wrestling and give you guys more coverage. So, we started as a WWE only podcast. Now we're branching out into different, promotions. We did an interview, if you guys haven't heard it, Brian Pillman Jr., Check it out. And he is going to be in that Battle Royale as well, too, guys. He just wrapped up a tour in Europe as well. So that's something to check out. And, good shit.
Yeah, what I really like about what AEW is doing is, they've done it a few times on the road to Double or Nothing, but they're featuring some lesser-known talents in their Battle Royal, which is really interesting. And this week we got to meet Dustin Thomas, who's the wrestler with no legs.
That was cool, yeah.
It was very cool. He was announced as a participant in the Battle.
No way! Royal. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's gonna be cool. We saw Sunny Days a couple weeks back, who was also announced, and they also showed when they were in. I think it was. I'll probably murder wherever it was from. It was in Georgia. Our buddy Chris Rucker was there actually. Jericho showed up. This is the same event that they announced Dustin Thomas, but Jericho showed up, and then lights went out. And Kenny Omega showed up, and then there was a huge confrontation in the match. So it was their last indie show, I think, before Double or Nothing. I just really like what AEW is doing. They don't even have a TV show, and their storylines for an event that, was kind of thrown together without any TV. I'm more invested in these storylines.
Well, right.
These people are.
And they're invading various indie scenes, right? And indie shows, which is really cool, and I can respect that a lot. And it actually helps those promotions out as well, too, which is fantastic. It's all about helping each other growing and not being necessarily competition, but we can all work together. And it's been really interesting, guys. If you guys want to check that out, Chris Rucker, Boot to the Face, check them out on social media. They ended up putting out a few of their videos from their time there, got lots of hits, blew up, went all over the internet. These guys are stars. I've heard they were signing with AEW, but he won't admit it. But you know what, guys? You worked hard. Awesome and good shit. Keep it coming.
All right, it's time, Des. Let's go through Raw and SmackDown. Let's try and take away some positives from the show. AJ Styles caused Seth Rollins to be pinned in their tag match. I mean,
a lot of people are losing their shit over this. They're like, he's a champion, and you send him out there, and he's getting pinned, and I'm never happy. And meh. Look, guys, they're building Corbin up. That's all they're doing. They're putting this feud. AJ took out Rollins again with the phenomenal form. It was an accident. But then when they showed the replay, it was really stupid because Corbin was well out of the way before AJ started putting the fist forward. So sometimes those instant replays work against them.
Yeah, big time.
But yes, Baron Corbin, they're just building him up to make it look like he's a threat, and which to me translates he will not win the Money in the Bank match. They're just making him look a little strong going into it. Yeah, I know it sucks that the champion got pinned, but whatever, man. Seth Rollins is fine.
I don't even see why it sucks.
It
happens all the time.
Yeah, and Seth Rollins can win any other night. I mean, he's one of the smaller guys that can lose and then doesn't matter the next night, at least in my mind. It's fine.
Agree, yeah.
And also he made Rollins get pinned, so it adds more fire to the fuel between AJ Styles and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
So it was okay.
We've seen this storyline before, though. That's what I was getting at.
Well, we've
It's
seen
not that
every
interesting.
storyline before. How many times we've seen Baron Corbin before? It's funny because they talked about how Baron Corbin's was the driver in the low ratings. They made storylines about this on TV where they came out and told him this, and yet they're putting him in these big matches still and putting him as like a big focal point. It's like, well, you know what? But I will give him credit. Like, I don't like Baron Corbin, but he goes out there and he does his job. And he's a heel, and I don't like him. And the fact that I don't like him means that he's doing his job. I mean, I don't know. He's not the best heel, but he's not terrible either.
He's a really good, like, old school heel, like when Slaughter used to come out. And people
Very
used to,
by the
like,
books.
literally-
Very like heel 101.
Yeah, but I think what helps him too is that he's uninteresting. So, like, I don't think, like, Slaughter was a face, then he was a heel, then he was a face. I don't think we're going to see Baron ever really pull off a face run.
No.
I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I really think, I know it sounds dumb, really, really dumb, but something as simple as, like, a slight change to his gimmick, just his look.
Let him tattoo his head. He wants to tattoo his head, but they won't let him. He wants to do it like Bam Bam or put something on there, and they're like, nope. So they got to let him do that. I think once they do, you know, he'll look a lot more badass, I guess.
He just has to stop wearing a goddamn vest.
Yeah, dude. Why is he still doing that? Yeah.
They added that, like, little logo at the bottom. They're like,
Oh, did they?
This is a subtle change. A
Oh,
little
my God.
white circle of sorts.
But I don't get it. Like they did before, because like, yeah, he was a bit. He was never fat, but like he wasn't ripped. But now he looks like he's tighter and better shape. So like, why not give him some kind of, I don't know, something like his old trunks, just his old trunks.
Just make him a little bit more like, I just don't know what he is. He's just like a Baron Corbin. He has no gimmick, and it's, I don't know, it's just odd.
Is he a wrestler?
Anyways.
I mean, I don't. You know, I'm not even sure.
Lacey Evans faced off against some Manhattan talent in another Lazy Women's Division segment this week. I think the women had, I think you mentioned the notes, maybe 10 minutes out of the entire 3 hours.
Yeah, at SmackDown 2, they didn't have much time. They tried to jam everything together, especially on SmackDown. We didn't even see Bayley on SmackDown. I think they're actually doing a Europe tour, but if you're building to Money in the Bank, you should at least have her in a promo or something, film something. But yes, on Raw, Lacey Evans versus local talent. And initially, look, this is a woman who's challenging for the women's title, the Raw women's title. And she's had one match on Raw with Natty, and that's really all that I remember. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's one other one or whatever. We saw her in the Rumble. But outside of that, you know, she's been doing her struts down to the ring. And mind you, I'm not trying to knock Lacey. She's holding her own. She's great on the mic. I like her feud with Becky, and I'm interested to see their match at Money in the Bank. But I feel like if you're going to build her up going into Money in the Bank, you need a bit more credibility. You want to have her win over somebody more. And especially when you have women in the back who are waiting for opportunities, well, let her go into match with these women. Now, I tweeted this out on Monday, and I had a conversation as well with a few people who joined in, and they made some valid points. Like, well, look, it's good. It's good for the local talent, and at the same time, it's not going to squash people necessarily. Other women on the roster, because what, Natty or Naomi or Dana or would have lost,
Ruby.
and it would have looked them bad, or Ruby. I mean, honestly. Now that you say that, it probably should have been Ruby. I think if not having her on the show, you could at least have her and lose. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't want Ruby losing, but I want to see her. The Riot Squad, it was like, let's break them up and have them be single stars. And breaking them up was actually a bad thing because neither of them have been on TV since.
There's 3 of them.
There's 3 of them, yeah. But a point was made that, look, why do we want to have the same match week after week after week? And I said, well, look. She hasn't even had the same match week after week because she's only had one match against Natty and that's it. But I sat back and I thought, I was like, you know what though? Maybe when she has these matches, they can make it more meaningful if it wasn't week after week and they can have every other week. And maybe they have back that time like we used to have when we were younger where like Yokozuna would face a jobber. So when he does face off against Lex Luger, it means a lot more. So I was excited about that and thought, okay, maybe this is the direction they're going into. But now I see Naomi and Lacey are going at it on social media. So I'm pretty sure Lacey's going to face off against Naomi next week and beat her. So, there's that. So maybe they were just a week behind and this week they're going to start giving her credible wins coming forward. But I don't know. I just felt a woman who's going to challenge for the championship in 2 weeks from now or 1 or 2 weeks from now, having her go against a jobber. And like the match itself, like wasn't even good. The women's right, I didn't even know she hit it. I thought it was just a regular punch. It was her finisher, and I don't know. I just felt it rushed, and the women coming down and just...
Well, that was the story, right? The women coming down was the story that was to be told. So why not just have that story be told without the match?
Well, I think having her match is good. We need to see Lacey in the ring. I think she needs the practice. I think she needs to show us what she can do. But I'm also down for her not wrestling and then like showing us, blowing us away at the pay-per-view. That's cool too. But I just felt like it's a little bit lazy. They called everybody down to the ring. Alexa Bliss went down there as well too. And, then Becky came out. And it was like they just jammed everybody into one 10-minute segment. And I just felt it was, look, they gave the women a big platform at WrestleMania. And I feel like now they're kind of moving back a little bit.
Well, the Raw Women's division is terrible. So there's not much they can do with
it.
This
is the first week we didn't see Becky on both shows.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, Money in the Bank, that match is a hard match to book. Like, it's a hard match to create a storyline for. So they should just not have a story going into it. I mean, what's the point of having her come out with all those girls and be like, none of you better cash in after because it's not classy? Like, I didn't need 10 minutes of that. I would have rather just kept them all off the show. Or, I don't know, had just Lacey Evans come out, squash somebody, say a few things on the microphone, and walk in the back. Just as much would have been done there. I didn't have to watch Dana Brooke give really awkward eyes to Alexa Bliss, which didn't make sense because Alexa Bliss is a heel. I mean, it was just messy.
I'm happy for Dana Brooke that she's being used more prominently, I guess, because, well, first of all, the roster's been diluted, so it's a good time to put her in there. Also, with Sasha taking her ball and going home, it's kind of forced them to put Dana in that spot. And that's kind of what happened. She's kind of getting this opportunity based on Sasha not wanting to be there right now. Great for her, I guess, and she's trying to run with it, but she's been pretty awkward. And
she's better in the ring than she is out of the ring.
Well, that's it. So we're going to see. It's going to be a big match, like we said last week. Huge opportunity for Dana Brooke, maybe even a do-or-die opportunity. Or they just throw in there because she's taking the Eclipse off the ladder.
Oh, all right. We got new tag team champions on SmackDown Live. Daniel Bryan and Rowan beat the Usos.
Yeah. A lot of speculation going into this one. New SmackDown tag team champions. What was going to happen? Who was it going to be? Was it going to be a tournament? Some people thought that Shane was going to make himself a tag team champion because he's the best in the world. They could have played on that. And he could have been him and Elias, I guess. They just gifted the tag team titles. That would have drawn a lot of heat. That would have been all right. And then also they could have went with the B team because the B team, and I thought that's what they were maybe going to do because the B team, they were floating around. They are a joke. I get it. But the fact that they are now their bodyguards, B for bodyguards, they protect Shane. And they're taking on The Miz, which I thought was pretty cool to see them kind of like beating up The Miz now. But they could have given them the tag team titles and been like, these are our bodyguards, with the tag team champions. But no, he gave them to Daniel Bryan and Rowan, almost gifted them to them. But they did have a match against the Usos, I was excited to see the Usos come out. I didn't think they were going to win, but as the match progressed, it was actually a pretty good match, to be honest with you. I thought it was all right. A lot of false finishes, and I actually at one point thought the Usos might pull it off. But you got Daniel Bryan, you got Rowan. They're now the tag team champions. I guess Daniel Bryan is moving on from the WWE title picture. He didn't get the job done against Kofi on Raw, which we got the rematch where Kofi proved that it was not a fluke. But I don't know. Like, we even saw a lot of superstars. Rusev commented on social media saying, boy, I really love that tag team tournament on SmackDown. You have Rusev, you have Nakamura. They're sitting in the back. They started up this storyline with those two guys where Lana's like, you guys work together. I got a plan. That never went anywhere. We have heavy machinery. Yeah, they played on Daniel Bryan and they played on Eric Rowan, but I don't know, man. I cannot see heavy machinery going up against Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan and walking away with these tag team titles. I can just not. Unless there's some interference or something. Like, Daniel Bryan's not going to lose to heavy machinery, and Eric Rowan maybe, but I don't know. Maybe it's not going to work out for heavy machinery, at least not yet. But I'm just disappointed. I don't know. I feel like they could have done a little bit better with it, but
Are you surprised that they didn't do any better?
I also kind of get why they did what they did, but then again, Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan should be the bodyguards instead of the B team. But
it's a clusterfuck, that's for sure. At least we got to see Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville get some TV time in the ring this week. They picked up a win over Ember, Moon, and Carmella.
First of all, Carmella's back to blonde, so she must listen to the podcast last week because Jay talked about what it takes to be successful in the women's division, and one of the items is blonde hair. And
what's the other item?
I think it was boobies. Boobies was one.
Boobies was one.
Right. So I guess she knows what she's got, and she's got it, and she's going to be working towards climbing the top of that ladder, grabbing that briefcase, and putting herself on top of the women's division. Cool. I like Carmella. You know, she's kind of grown on me over the years, so it's all right. I think as new people come out, I like the older people that I didn't like. Look, it's a cycle. So Carmella debuted. I don't like Carmella. Then Mandy Rose and Sonya, they debut, and then I kind of like, okay, well, now I'm kind of used to Carmella. I like her a little bit.
So it takes you some time to warm up.
It takes me time to warm up, but they have to prove themselves to me as well, too. Not that I'm the almighty decider or anything, but they have to earn my respect. And, you know, I harped on Nia Jax, and I'm not a huge fan of Nia Jax, and I still make that a point to call that out. But, you know, I don't know. Carmella, she's all right, you know, for what she's got to do, and, you know, it's fine. But Mandy Rose now, she looked impressive in this match. You know, they're obviously pushing her. They're making sure she looks strong. I don't know if that means she won't win this Money in the Bank ladder match. People speculate that Sonya's going to get involved and screw her somehow. I don't know how that's possible because she's not in the Money in the Bank match unless she like helps out Mandy and then sets up the ladder for her. And then when she climbs it, they push it over, and that puts them in their match at SummerSlam or whatever you want to call it. It's very possible. But it would also make a lot of sense for Mandy Rose to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. So it's going to be interesting. But we saw her pick up a big win, and this was a segment where they threw all the women together again at the same time. Right after that match, they had Kairi Sane and Asuka come out with Paige. It looks like they're going to be taking on Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville next week on SmackDown. I only have to imagine that they're going to pick up the win over Sonya and Mandy because they're on their way to the tag team titles. But then again, missing from SmackDown this week and altogether, the Iconics. So, you know, I think maybe it's because of the European tour. People are, you know, in Europe and stuff. But they could have done an annoying Iconics, you know, promo or put something on the big screen and been like, you think you're going to win against them next week, but you're never going to beat us. Haha, Iconic. Boop. Woohoo.
I didn't watch SmackDown live. I've said it, and I'll say it again. So I can't really comment on all that, but I did see in your notes that you said that there's going to be another special announcement next week of sorts.
I didn't say there was necessarily going to be one, but I'm curious because we had Shane McMahon. We had him crown new tag team champions. And then he came out afterwards, and he had the two briefcases behind him for the men and the women. And he said, that's not all tonight, folks. I have another special announcement for Money in the Bank. And before he announced it, he was attacked by The Miz. And The Miz and him brawled, and the segment ended. And he never told us what that announcement was. So either there's none, and they just used it to have him go out there and be beaten up by Miz, or there is an announcement that we're going to find out soon. So I don't know, but it left me wondering. That's it.
I just left you wondering. Okay. I was like waiting for you to say something.
It's not much different than Raw and SmackDown. I watched it and I'm left wondering after and scratching my head, what the hell is this? So, you know.
Lars Sullivan was on TV again, where nobody wants him to be. He beat up Matt Hardy and R-Truth, and then he kind of got some controversy going on the Twitter machine.
Well, it was a funny segment in general, just because I thought it was funny. So Matt Hardy has a gimmick where it's like millionaire Matt Hardy. I know I'm butchering this. I forget. But he has this gimmick in TNA where he's like a millionaire, successful kind of dude. And he's been playing it on Twitter. And some people were thinking he's going to do it on WWE TV. And although he kind of dressed nice, he wasn't. He was Matt Hardy this week. And then when Lars Sullivan came out and confronted him in R-Truth, Matt Hardy kind of did that like, and he puts his arms up like a Mortal Kombat stance. And Lars Sullivan starts to beat the two of them up. And he actually like throws Matt Hardy right out the exit door. And then the door's closed and that's it. Matt Hardy's gone. So he like threw him right out the exit, which I thought was, it looked funny if you go back and watch it. But then, yeah, he basically whipped R-Truth around and slammed him through a table. So he's part of the wild card. He threatened McMahon this week to be added as a fourth person, although it seems everybody can be a wild card. And now he's going to be causing destruction on both Raw and SmackDown and all over social media. So, I've mentioned it before a few times. It's not news either. He's got some very, I guess, opinionated thoughts on certain things, certain religions, certain sexual orientations, even certain wrestlers, calling AJ old and washed up, or, basically he even made fun of Canyon for committing suicide. So, like, he said some pretty risque things that like, yeah, you know, like you got to be careful what you're going to say. And a lot of them may or may not come back to haunt him. Ultimately, these are things that were said years ago. So I think for the better part, he'll be all right. I think if it would have happened by now, it would have happened. But if you guys, you go and check it out, just Google it, go on message board. I'm not going to repeat a bunch of this stuff here because some of it's pretty bad. But, you know, like I said, I've been saying for weeks, I have this feeling that either it's going to be something in the ring where you hurt somebody or something outside the ring where he does something stupid. I have a feeling that Lars Sullivan is a project that's not going to see its full potential. I can't imagine seeing Lars Sullivan a year, 2 years from now. I just feel like, and if you read the stuff he was saying, it was not very bright. So anyways, to my point, somebody actually called it out directly to Big E and said, hey, you'll be working with this guy. What do you have to say about, you know, the things he said? And he kind of said like, well, look, you know, like, you know, he'll come out, he'll expose himself and blah, 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 blah. And like, you know, he's coming into a locker room where, you know, he will be screwed if he comes in with that attitude.
And he has to live with it.
He has to live with it too.
Himself,
Exactly. So I forget exactly what it was. So I'm sorry. I obviously came in unprepared with this Big E thing. But I talked about this Lars Sullivan thing before. And he basically commented on it today, Big E, giving his 2 cents. And he's always been opinionated. He wasn't a big fan of Hogan when Hogan was racist. And even when he apologized after. So I'm sure he's going to have a strong opinion on Lars Sullivan. I'm sure the whole New Day probably will as well. But ultimately, look, these are comments that were made years ago. Who knows if his mindset's changed? A lot of it is like white supremacist stuff, so probably maybe not. But if he's smart and knows what's best for him, stay off of social media and don't comment with stuff like that.
Shut
because,
the fuck up, Lars.
Yeah, some of it, making fun of somebody for committing suicide and like, AJ Styles would never make it in the WWE because he's old and like, just keep your comments to yourself, boy, because you're nothing special.
Yeah. Well, he's probably in Big E's shithouse, and it's not fun to be in Big E's shithouse. So we'll see where that goes.
So maybe instead of the Firefly Funhouse, they could make the Big E shithouse.
All right, before we wrap things up, let's talk about Sasha Banks real quick. She wasn't on either show again, so the rumors are flying. She apparently made a comment on Tessa Blanchard's Instagram. She commented, "Let's wrestle." So the question I have for you, and I'm sure I know the answer, and I love talking shit about Sasha Banks, but is Sasha Banks in the same league as women like Tessa Blanchard or Jordan Grace or some other women that are really killing it on the independent scene right now?
So offhand, I'm going off of what I'm thinking every week, I would say no. But I think she definitely has the potential to be. I just think, look, she's working for the WWE. These women, Tessa Blanchard, Jordan Grace, they are not working for the WWE. They're working in promotions that give them more free reign. They're able to do their thing. They're able to be creative in the ring. And who knows, maybe Sasha needs to go elsewhere. Maybe she needs to branch out, go elsewhere, hone her craft, work somewhere else, work with different people, grow as a professional, grow as a person. And she could fit in that. But if I'm saying, I look at Tessa, I look at Jordan, I look at many women on the indie scene, even Io before she came, and there's even some more people from Japan that I've been seeing, and there's people from all around different territories. Rucker as well, too, had showed me somebody from an event that he saw, the same event that he had posted from, and I checked out some of her stuff, and, she's pretty good, and this goes back to what I was saying, guys, like, Sasha is great and all, and they came in and they broke boundaries down, these women. But there's so many women who maybe inspired from Sasha and Bayley, but these women are on a whole other level. And who knows, maybe Tessa or Jordan would come over and they would be restricted and they wouldn't be able to be these great superstars. It's really hard to get standout superstars in WWE just because of the recipe. But look, at some point you got to put your big girl pants on.
Yep.
And you got to realize it's not all about you.
Yep.
I know it's tough sitting there in the back and watching Becky.
How tough can it be, man? No, let's be honest. How tough can it be? How fucking tough can it be to be in her position?
When you want to be the best,
it's scripted. Times there's peaks and valleys.
Definitely.
She came in on top. She's in a valley. She doesn't like it. She was in the Elimination Chamber. She was on WrestleMania. She was just a tag team champion. I don't know. I don't buy it. That's why I didn't buy it for the Revival. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you guys like the Revival. Listen, there's a lot of shitty wrestling Twitter out there. Don't let them overshadow the other guys. Anybody who complains about their position that is still on TV, I feel like they don't have like a platform, man, in my opinion.
Interesting. Well, I know that I was reading. So first of all, she was supposed to be back from Money in the Bank. She's not coming back from Money in the Bank. So Dana Brooke got that spot. She's supposed to go on the European tour. And last I checked today, she is not in Europe on the tour. She's supposed to do some voice acting or some kind of promotion with 2K. And as far as I read, she's not committed. She's not there either. So all the signs point to her sitting at home, taking her ball, and we'll go the Shawn Michaels route and taking her ball and going home. And we even have Becky too commenting on it and basically saying that Sasha can't hack it. Times are changing, things are different. And she says, look, I'll also sympathize and say it's really tough because I was there for years and I believed I should have been in the main event, but I was left off cards. I was put on pre-shows and I was an afterthought, but I kept working my ass off, keeping my head up, and look where I am now. So things got hard for Sasha, and she couldn't hack it. She couldn't cut it. So, I don't know if there's a little bit of, acting there or being in character. But you know what? I don't know. I feel like a lot of them take jabs at each other these days, and that's just part of it. And there's a little bit of realness to it. And I agree. You can't always be on top. There's peaks and valleys. And she's had some really big peaks. And, she sits and looks at WrestleMania and she thinks she should have better involvement and she probably thinks she's better than so-and-so and maybe some resentment towards Ronda coming in there and stealing the spotlight from everybody. And I'm pretty sure she was probably promised a few things here or there and this tag team title run is going to be meaningful. I would have been pissed off at the tag team run that she had if I was them. They could have went to NXT like they talked about. They could have went to Smackdown Raw. This never really happened. Even like you were saying and I was saying a week or so ago, they made these tag team titles, and you were saying that they might not even be around in a year or two from now because they're just not working. It just seems like they're not being able to follow through and use them properly. So they could be a gimmicky tool. They're good on the Iconics. It works for them. But I could see her being frustrated. But you know what? Grow up. It's not always going to be about you. And if you want to go to AEW, maybe it would be a great choice for your career, maybe to help you grow. But maybe she saw Ambrose leave, and maybe she'll be the woman that they take down the road. But don't think it's going to be any different going to AEW.
I don't think it would be for her.
Maybe they'll give her the title. Maybe they'll give her the title, and maybe they'll give her 2 weeks of defending it instead of the usual one. But ultimately, like I said, and it always goes back to it, and you guys are going to see this, and you're seeing this. There are so many amazing women on the scene that are phenomenal athletes, phenomenal wrestlers, phenomenal on the mic. They work hard, they work stiff, and they are promising. So the future looks great for women in wrestling. I love it. But things aren't looking too good.
Not so much for Sasha.
Yeah, things are definitely not looking too good for the boss.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up another episode of Talkamania. Thanks for tuning in once again. Hey, Des, we got some stuff coming up. We're just over a week away from Money in the Bank?
Hells yeah. So we got Money in the Bank coming up. It's going to be here in 1.5 weeks' time. And J-Bomb is heading off to Florida.
Yeah, buddy. I'm going to be doing a call-in for a live show in Full Press. So if you guys want to tune in, May 19th, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Full Press Radio Network. We'll be tweeting out about it like crazy. You guys could call into the show. We're going to be doing our predictions for the pay-per-view. I'm probably going to be pretty sauced, so Dez is going to have to run it.
I'm all good, man. As far as I'm concerned, I'm always running it. So It'll be good. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. If you haven't checked one of our live shows out on Full Press, make sure to check it out. We have tons of fun. You can call in, be a Talkamaniac, be part of the action. We'll be talking about our predictions. And are we going one-on-one with Boot to the Face again? Money in the Bank?
Yeah, we are going one-on-one with Boot to the Face. They're scheduled to call in, so they're going to be putting their predictions on the show as well. And hey, if you guys want to post your predictions, we have a thread going on our website, www.talkamania.com. Head over there. The thread is open. We have a couple people that have already posted it. So post it. Join in the action and try and take down the prediction champions at Talkamania. So check us out on Twitter @_Talkamania, on Instagram, Talkamania, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get it. Check out our friends at Full Press Coverage, buy some merch at ProWrestlingTees.com, and come watch me play on Twitch, twitch.tv/TalkManiacs. On behalf of Talkamania, J-Bomb's out. Dez, say bye.
Happy Rusev Day.